Stop what you are doing. Go to your kitchen, open the spice cabinet, push past the salt, move the cinnamon, and find that small jar of dried, dark brown buds that has likely been sitting there for years. You look at it and see a holiday ingredient. You see a flavoring for a pumpkin pie. You are looking at it wrong. You are staring at one of the most potent biochemical defense mechanisms nature has ever constructed. A complex matrix that pharmaceutical engineers have studied for decades, trying to understand how nature packed so much potential into something so small. This is not a cooking show. This is an analysis of a bioactive powerhouse that creates a perimeter of defense around your cells, neutralizes internal threats, and assists in rewiring your metabolic panel. We are talking about Syzygium aromaticum, the clove. Most people operate under a delusion. They believe that health comes exclusively from a plastic bottle with a child-proof cap. Meanwhile, a powerful tool for fighting chronic inflammation is sitting right next to the pepper shaker. But you don't use it. You don't understand it. And because of that ignorance, your body is struggling in a fight it was designed to win. Let's look at the numbers. They are not just impressive, they challenge the entire narrative of the superfood industry. We have all been sold the blueberry myth. Marketing campaigns have convinced millions that blueberries are the gold standard of antioxidant protection. On the ORAC scale, which measures a substance's ability to absorb destructive free radicals, blueberries score roughly 4,600 units. Cloves? Cloves score over 290,000. That is not a margin of error. That is a statistical dominance of nearly 60 to 1. 1 teaspoon of ground cloves contains more antioxidant capacity than half a cup of the finest organic blueberries. Ask yourself, why didn't you know this? Why is the most powerful antioxidant hidden in plain sight while you are sold expensive supplements? This data is public, yet you have likely never heard it. If you are tired of being fed half-truths about your own biology, like this video and subscribe to the channel right now. We are building an archive of survival intelligence here, and you cannot afford to remain in the dark. Join us, and let's uncover the rest. But the antioxidant potential is just the surface. What happens when this substance enters the human metabolic system is far more profound. However, before we introduce this compound, we need to understand the environment it is entering. Imagine a 58-year-old man. Let's call the subject Patient 0. He wakes up tired. By 10 a.m., a familiar brain fog descends. Vision blurs, hands tremor slightly. He feels a heaviness in his limbs, as if gravity has doubled. He thinks he is just aging. He is wrong. Inside, a metabolic crisis is unfolding. His blood has turned into syrup. The glucose from his morning toast is not entering his cells to create energy. It is trapped in the vascular highway. This is the microscopic battle. The insulin hormone rushes into the bloodstream like a desperate rescue team, signaling cells to absorb energy. But the cells are deaf. They have barricaded the doors with layers of fat and toxic byproducts. This is insulin resistance. With nowhere to go, the sugar begins to wander. It starts to bind to proteins in your blood vessels. It initiates a process called glycation. Imagine pouring thick, hot caramel over a moving gear. It hardens. It jams the mechanism. Effectively, the sugar is caramelizing your veins from the inside out. It turns flexible, elastic arterial pipes into brittle glass. This contributes to why vision fails, why kidneys shut down, and why circulation collapses. The pipes lose their integrity and shatter. Now introduce the clove, specifically the active compound, eugenol. When you consume cloves, eugenol enters this chaotic environment like a specialized key. Research suggests that eugenol mimics certain functions of insulin. It doesn't just ask the cells to open, it helps force the lock. It attempts to bypass the resistance. It encourages glucose to leave the toxic bloodstream and enter the muscle cells where it belongs. Recent data suggests that consistent supplementation can help modulate postprandial blood sugar spikes. It helps pause the caramelization process. It helps prevent your vessels from turning into glass. But sugar isn't the only thing destroying the machinery. There is a second silent killer that often follows high blood sugar: chronic pain. If you are over 60, you know the sensation. You wake up and your joints feel like rusty hinges. Your knees complain when you stand. Your fingers feel stiff. You're told this is arthritis or just wear and tear. But biologically, this is a chemical fire. It is inflammation. Specifically, it is driven by an enzyme called COX-2. This enzyme triggers the production of inflammatory signals that cause pain and swelling. When you take a standard over-the-counter painkiller, you are essentially taking a chemical designed to block this enzyme. But nature developed a blocker long before the pharmaceutical industry did. Cloves are rich in eugenol, and eugenol acts as a natural inhibitor of the COX-2 enzyme. Think of inflammation as a series of small fires breaking out in your joints. Eugenol acts like a fire suppressant foam. It helps dampen the signal. It helps cool the heat. Research has shown that the analgesic, or pain-killing, effects of clove oil can be significant. By incorporating this into your system, you're not just masking the pain. You're addressing the chemical pathway that creates the inflammation in the first place. You're oiling the rusty hinge from the inside. Now, we must look at an entry point you completely ignore: your mouth. Most people think oral health is just about white teeth and fresh breath. They are dead wrong. Your mouth is the gateway to your cardiovascular system. If you have bleeding gums or low-grade periodontal disease, which affects nearly 70% of adults over 60, you have an open wound in your mouth. Through this wound, bacteria enter your bloodstream and travel directly to your heart valves. This is not a theory. DNA from oral bacteria has been found in the plaque clogging the arteries of heart attack victims. This is where cloves prove their historical worth. For centuries, cloves were used for toothaches, but the mechanism is what matters. Clove oil is a potent antiseptic. When you consume cloves or swish with a clove-infused rinse, you are sanitizing the gateway. You are reducing the bacterial load that threatens to leak into your system. You are effectively placing a guard at the front door, stopping the saboteurs before they can enter the bloodstream and attach themselves to your heart. But what if the invaders are already inside? What happens in the digestive tract is where the story turns into a tactical operation. The average gut environment is often compromised. Years of processed foods, antibiotics, and environmental toxins have weakened natural defenses. This creates a vacuum. Enter the uninvited guests: microscopic invaders, fungal overgrowths like Candida, and pathogenic bacteria. These organisms are intelligent. They don't just float around waiting to be removed by your immune system. They build bunkers. They create something called a biofilm. Imagine a slimy, impenetrable matrix, like a dome shield in a science fiction movie. The bacteria and fungi hide under this slime. Standard treatments and the body's own immune cells often struggle to penetrate this shield. They bounce off. The colony survives. It continues to compete for your nutrients and dump toxic waste into your system. This is why you feel bloated. This is why you crave sugar. The microbial colony is manipulating your signals to demand fuel. Cloves are known as a biofilm breaker. The eugenol in cloves possesses properties that can degrade these protective matrices. It dissolves the slime. It rips the roof off the bunker. Once the shield is lowered, the body's immune system and the clove's own antimicrobial properties can finally reach the invaders. Research published in microbiological journals has demonstrated that clove oil shows efficacy against various resistant strains. It doesn't just suppress the invader, it dismantles their defenses. But wait, protecting the gut is useless if the filter is failing. We need to talk about the liver. Your liver is the filter for your entire existence. Every chemical in your food, every pollutant, every drop of alcohol passes through this organ. In the modern world, the liver is under constant siege. It is suffering from oxidative stress. Think of an apple you slice and leave on the counter. In 20 minutes, it turns brown. That is oxidation. Now imagine that happening to your liver cells. This is lipid peroxidation. The cell membranes of your liver are made of fats. When free radicals attack, these fats degrade. Your liver literally begins to rust while you are still alive. This contributes to the sluggishness and fatigue millions feel daily. The filter is clogged. Cloves contain compounds like nigerican alongside eugenol. These compounds help stabilize cell membranes. They donate electrons to the rampaging free radicals, neutralizing them instantly. They halt the rusting process. Studies analyzing liver function markers have shown that clove extract can help reduce the levels of enzymes that indicate liver stress. It acts as a biochemical shield, giving the liver a chance to regenerate and clear the backlog of toxins. You might think this is enough. You might think, okay, I'll protect my blood sugar, my joints, and my liver. But there is a structural crisis we haven't touched: the skeleton. As we age, specifically past 50, bone density becomes a critical concern. We are told to drink milk. We are told to take calcium. But calcium is useless if you don't have the specialized enzymes to lay the bricks. You can have all the bricks in the world, but without the workers, the wall does not get built. You need manganese. Manganese is a mineral that is critically overlooked. It is an essential cofactor for the enzymes that build bone matrix. Without manganese, your body struggles to repair the microfractures that occur in your skeleton every single day. 1 single teaspoon of ground cloves provides nearly 30 to 50% of your daily recommended intake of manganese. It is one of the most density-packed sources of this mineral you can find. By integrating this into your diet, you are providing the raw materials to maintain structural integrity. However, a strict word of caution is mandatory. This is not a toy. This is potent biochemistry. Because cloves are so effective, and because eugenol is such a powerful active compound, there is a safety threshold. First, blood thinning. Eugenol can slow blood clotting. If you are on anticoagulant medication like warfarin or even daily aspirin, adding large amounts of cloves is dangerous. You must consult your physician. Second, toxicity. Do not use undiluted clove essential oil directly on the skin or ingest it in large quantities. It is caustic. It can irritate the lining of your digestive tract. We are looking for the therapeutic window, the sweet spot. So, how do you deploy this? Do not buy the pre-ground powder that has been sitting on the supermarket shelf for 6 months. The volatile oils have evaporated. That is just dead dust. Buy whole organic clove buds. Get a mortar and pestle or a simple coffee grinder. Grind them fresh. The smell should be overpowering. It should sting your nose. That is the active compound. Add a 1/4 teaspoon to your morning coffee. The heat will release the oils. Or create a tea. Crush 2 cloves. Steep them in boiling water for 10 minutes. Drink it black. This is not about flavor. This is about function. You have one of the most powerful antioxidants known to science sitting in your cupboard. It is time to bring it into the light. It is time to stop rusting. It is time to extinguish the fire in your joints. It is time to clear the fog. Go to the kitchen, grind the bud, upgrade your routine.